that Ambridge is now officially closed. Please do not use the Ambridge address anymore, because the postage permit's going to end up causing the mail to come back to you if you use it. We also got a 2018 edition of the devotional handbook with the correct address in Louisville. We finished our first year with our full-time paid executive director, which we've not had for decades. And it's enabled us to multiply our efforts in travel. All the things that you are witnessing is part of the $40 ministry pledge that you give to us every year. If we weren't able to get out here and see you, I will not. This is my 43rd diocese that I've been in the last 20 months. And the reason why I'm pointing that out to you is, one, you help make this all possible, but two, this gives us the ability to go out and listen and thank everybody and let them realize that I'm a servant out here trying to find out the things that you need. In 2012, you gave responses, 500 of you did, to a national public opinion survey we had through SurveyMonkey. Every one of the things that you voiced in that survey, we have acted on and have done and completed. And next week, we're going back in the national office in Louisville, and we're going to have a strategic planning conference for 1, 3, 5, and 7 years, and get ready to do another survey to find out what we can do better for you all. The idea, we've gone through, one of the things that was a big issue in the 2012 survey was branding. You wanted a new branding, and you wanted to see us be more aggressive in our approach. I can stand up here now and tell you that we have been more aggressive, and it came to bear when we had the General Convention last year. We put up our professionally done booth. I think we spent $4,800 for it. It's got 3 panels, and we had an amazing amount of people to stop by and ask about the Brotherhood. In fact, it was more women that came by than men. We want to be known as a unifying force in the Episcopal Church, not a dividing force. And we're practicing holy listening in our meetings. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. It may not be the same as mine, but I'm still going to love you. That keeps us out of trouble. Our core is prayer, study, and service. We've also been spending a lot of time on building up our web page, our Zoom capabilities. This is a meeting that you can have over the internet. We have had every month for 2 years now? 3 years? Once a month we have a meeting over the internet, and everybody has a camera at their desk, at their laptop, and everybody talks to everybody. And it's a round-robin type deal. So the people that are on there are the 8 province presidents, the 7 vice presidents for the different missions, and the other national officers. It has been a wonderful group to work with. I can assure you that. The emphasis here is we're trying to put aside the past and start looking at the future. And the future is to make the white-haired guys brown-haired and black-haired and red and much younger. And we're spending a lot of time on that. We have created a group called the Young Adults Think Tank, which is comprised of men under the age of 30 that are going to come to the National Council meeting next week and advise us on some of the things they're looking at that we should be doing differently. We have to open ourselves up to that. Any questions so far? Yes, sir.
Okay. Ever since I became a member of the Brotherhood, I've been warned that there's been a fight of opening up membership to women. And they've given me several reasons why women are not members of the Brotherhood. They are associate members. And those of us who want to be truthful can attest to the wonderful work that the women have done to assist the Brotherhood. I was told that the reason why we cannot accept women is because the Congress had passed a motion, and we're going by that motion that the Congress passed and made it into a law, that women cannot be members of the Brotherhood of St. Andrews. As far as I'm concerned, me personally, that's discrimination.
Okay.
We cannot exempt the women from participating in the work of God.
No, we cannot. We have a situation, there's two organizations that were incorporated by an act of Congress in 1907 and 1908, and the two are the Boy Scouts of America and the Brotherhood of St. Andrew, and in that specific piece of legislation that said men and youth. We created the associate membership program so that women could be associate members. They just cannot vote and hold office. And I'll tell you the reason, part of the reason why we're not going to go down that way is if we're going to have any type of real spiritual encounters and discussion in our men's ministry, you put one female in there and everybody shuts up. It's one of those situations, what is said here is said, what stays here. I appreciate your concern on that, but in order for us to be men in the church, we have to have the ability to talk freely when we have our meetings. And when you add one woman in there, that destroys all the efforts that we've had in the years past. So if you want to do something about it, you're more than welcome to. In 2021, we're having our triennial meeting in Baltimore. And if you want to do something, give it to the Constitution Committee and they'll write it up. That's the end of the discussion. Okay? I appreciate what you're saying, but we're not going down that way, and we can only have it by changing the Constitution and maybe having to go back to Congress to have them change our Articles of Incorporation. But that's how we're incorporated.
May 30th, 1908.
Right.
So what is it that we discuss as men that if a woman is around that would make the organization become absolute?
In my chapter, we meet every week. We've talked about divorces. We've talked about adultery. We've talked about other types of things in the Brotherhood meeting because we're having problems on that when we want to find out who else in that meeting have experienced the same things that I'm going through right now. And you're not going to have those type of discussions. And that gets into the real spirituality of what we're trying to do is disciple men and youth to Christ. These meetings are not designed to be fellowship meetings where we're just going to come in and eat something and go home and pat each other on the back and say we had a men's meeting. This is not a group that all we're going to do is raise money and write checks and hand it out to people and tell them that we're having outreach. If you're going to have outreach, you're going to get your fingernails dirty and you're going to get out there side to side to people and you're going to learn what it means to give something of yourself to others and not expect anything in return. These are the things that we need to be talking about in our men's ministry meetings. I love, how many of you have been to Perseal?
Yeah.
What do we do in Cursil? We say to you, where have you seen Jesus Christ in your life this last week? We need to ask that question. We need to have men working side by side with other men on these issues. Do you agree or disagree? 10, our life endowment was at $656,933. At the end this year, it was at $1,015,186.
Could you repeat those if I can put it in?
I'll give you a copy. I'll give you this.
Okay.
At that particular time in 2010, we only gave back to the membership $29,440 in 2010. Last year in 2018-19, we gave back to you all $65,549. Okay? We are solvent. We are in the best financial shape we've ever been in, but don't let that fool you. The foundation can only give to the operating budget 4.5% to 5% in each year. Some people are under the conception in other parts of the country that because we have $1 million, they don't need to make a ministry pledge anymore. That's not the right thing. The ministry pledges help us turn on the lights, send out mail, do the St. Andrew Cross, and in order for us to go out and represent you all. So please keep that in mind, that we still need the ministry pledges every year. And it's a challenge when we don't have those. We've been connecting with the larger church. We've been going to provincial synods, St. Francis Foundation for out west, Episcopal Veterans Fellowship, Episcopal Recovery Network, the Military Chaplains Association, Garcia, Kairos, Alpha, the Union of Black Episcopalians. We are a member of that now, and we're also a member of the Consortium of Endowed Episcopal Churches. We have been able to go out and talk and have these regional workshops. We've done 20 regional workshops, and we've talked to over 700 people in those regional workshops. And they surround our 7 missions. And since we've got some new people here, I'll go over the 7 missions real quick. Our basic mission is the discipleship and mentoring. That's our primary mission. Then right behind that, we have the youth program, and currently that is the Boy Scouts of America. The third mission that we've had many, many years is on restorative justice, and it's also the prison ministry. Okay? The fourth mission that we picked up, and I'm going to steal your water, Bob. And the fourth mission that we picked up was one that I was embarrassed about as a cradle Episcopalian. I went to the consecration of Suffragan Bishop Carl Wright for the Armed Forces and Federal Ministries at the National Cathedral a couple of years back. And there sent the presiding Bishop Curry in as the presiding officer, but then we had his homiletics professor give the sermon for 40 minutes, giving the complete history of how bad Europeans treated African Americans in the Episcopal Church. And I cried after that. I never realized that. I felt so ignorant. For the first time ever, the Brotherhood adopted officially a mission on racial reconciliation and healing. And that individual's name is Joe McDaniel. And he's been very active in that particular area. And he's been on the Standing Committee for Racial Reconciliation at the National Church. And he is very influential on that. We're very pleased about that. The next mission that we also added, how many of you are veterans? I know you are. Okay, there's a few of us that are veterans. We also have a thing called Veterans-Friendly Congregations through the Veterans Affairs Committee. When we deal with veterans, we're competing against, or we're combating against divorce. We're combating drug and alcohol abuse, spouse abuse, suicide, and disabilities. That's why we added that. The fifth mission that we picked up was on human trafficking. That is a problem beyond belief. And we have an individual, his name is Carl Colder. He's out of Virginia. He's a retired DEA special agent, and he's been going throughout the country training bishops on what to do on opioids. In Province 3, he's trained every bishop in that province, and those bishops have had him back in to work with their clergy. It's almost like a mandatory formation. He is in Baltimore right now doing one of these. He's going up to Kalamazoo, Michigan on the 12th of July to talk to their synod. A synod is all the churches in that particular province. That's a province synod meeting for those that are not. He was down in New Orleans, and he was over in Mississippi giving these presentations. So this has been a very beneficial thing for the Brotherhood. Part of the recovery mission also is alcohol and pornography. Those are horrible, horrible things. Those are our missions for the Brotherhood. And what this is designed to do is we're set up to be a resource. We're set up to be a resource for you when you start having these regional meetings. These regional meetings are designed to train officers, educate, recruit, and motivate people to become part of the Brotherhood of St. Andrew. And we've had men and women attend these sessions. And it varies upon what part of the country you're in. If I was asking you right now, what is the number one problem in this particular area? What would you classify? What would it be?
Probably drugs.
Would it be drugs?
Drugs, violence.
Okay. All right.
And I'm not talking about the illicit drugs, I'm talking about the opioid type.
That's what I'm talking about. The Episcopal Church has thousands of AA meetings. And we now have a 12-step Eucharist that we can use in those meetings to attract people from that side of the world. Okay. The branding. We have rebranded everything. This is the new shield. We will get you the ability to get patches. We did something that we've never done before. We've trademarked and copyrighted everything. Bob will tell you what happened when we didn't do that with a web page for the Brotherhood of St. Andrew.org. We never got it back. We had to do away with it, and that's why it's brothersandrew.net. That is now copyrighted. We have our if you haven't got copies of this, I'm going to leave these here today. We got new brochures. This is for clergy members that you can give to clergy. And then we've also got the other one that talks about let your Andrew out. Okay? And these are what you give potential recruits. We've also got new banners out. We've also got a complete different style of apparel. Ken is wearing the blue polo shirt that we have now.
That's the other one.
Yeah, I just showed that.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, you have the. We also have this. I have a long sleeve shirt on. It has the same thing on. We have hats. We got the white hats. They really look sharp in the middle of the convention. We were the only white-hatted guys there at the convention. Okay, we have a new web page, and you're going to be able to go to that web page and pick up the different missions, who's in charge of them, what we need to do to help you, and get a better flavor of that. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all these things. We want to be in every diocese in the United States. We're only in 40 dioceses right now. And there's 110 of them. We have a group of men and women called the Bishop's Advisory Council that the presiding Bishop Curry gave to us so that we could communicate with the House of Bishops and get their opinion on various aspects of our relationships. Because we are identified now by them, the House of Bishops, as the men's ministry community for the Episcopal Church. We are it. Finally. So, the neat thing about what's happened with these bishops, we had the first one in Klusmeyer, Bishop Klusmeyer of West Virginia. He sent out a letter to every one of his clergy members and said, I want a chapter in there. Right after Klusmeyer did that, we sent it over to Bishop Marty Field in the Diocese of Western Missouri. He's doing the same thing. We sent it down to the Bishop of Mississippi, Bishop Sage. He's doing the same thing. This is where your $40 of ministry pledges are going to enable us to build up the relationships that's going to make us the men's ministry program. And the value of what we do today, I've just gone through to give you a picture of what we're looking at going forward. To me, it's exciting. And it should be to you, and we're so happy to have you back amongst us. But that's the report about the fact that we're in good shape today. Yes, Richard?
I love what you just said. But there's one thing that you also need to follow up on.
What's that?
You went to the bishops, and they're going to get the ministers to start a mission for the Brotherhood. But the ministers also got to be part of it.
Well, we're going to encourage every Brotherhood chapter to have the rector, male and female, as a member of the Brotherhood chapter.
They are on your toe.
Okay. We're encouraging that right now. And if the female comes to the Brotherhood meeting, they're going to come in there. They're going to show up for a specific purpose. They are always entitled to talk, just like your male rectors. Okay. And we're going to also be out there doing men's retreats in these dioceses where we don't have a footprint. And we now are going out to diocesan conventions all throughout the country, handing out these brochures and meeting people. So that's a big difference, Richard. You're right on both. Yes, sir.
Three of the missions that you cited in your presentation, racial reconciliation
And healing.
How is that being done? I mean, it's a mission, but how is it functioning?
We're going into, let's take Atlanta. We went through the Absalom Jones, there's a university down there in Atlanta. We have down in Atlanta, we are blessed with a pretty good, we have a lot of African Americans as well as Europeans. We had an all-day seminar on racial reconciliation, and it was almost split, 24 African Americans and about 20 Europeans. So we had a discussion on that. That's what we're doing. We're having these different types of workshops and discussions.
Are you doing it nationally, or are you leaving it up to the various?
We're doing it nationally.
And the reason I'm asking is because, as you well know, that's a big problem in our country today.
Oh, I know that. That's why it's part of our missions. Okay?
So what is it that we in these various locations can do? Are there any guidelines, in other words, as to how we can bring this to the surface so that we can openly talk about it intelligently and the way it ought to be talked about, and stop trying to hide it under the rug and stuff?
If you'll go to the web page, you will see under the web page the missions. You will find Joe McDaniel's name, and you can go to Joe and ask him.
Okay.
I'm blessed with 7 vice presidents for each one of these ministries. That's the person you go to. Okay? I can't supervise everybody.
Right. All right, and the next one is the prison ministry.
Right. And that's
Now, as you well know, also, minorities are overwhelmingly
yes.
incarcerated.
I know that.
So how are we dealing with that issue so that when these folk are released from prison, that they can enter society like the rest of us, including having the right to vote and all the rest of that? How are we doing?
We have various programs. We have one ministry in Huntsville, outside of Houston, that has what, 175, 195? 175 brothers that meet every week, use the same devotion as you do. And there's another one down here in New Jersey, south of here.
Yeah, Yardsville.
Yardsville. We have a prison down there.
Correctional facility.
We're also supporting Kairos, which are weekend type retreats. We've got chapters out there that have a program set up that when an individual gets out of prison, they'll go to this group and we'll welcome them back into the community. We'll give them clothes and we'll help them find jobs, and we'll meet with them on a weekly basis until they get their feet on the ground. In the city of Knoxville, we have a program there where we've got 76 halfway houses. That community. We're part of it. We can't be all to all people. We're part of these things. It's called networking. And they have a wonderful program down there for alcoholics and drug people and people that are coming out of prison. The one that's near and dear to my heart is having summer camps for children of the incarcerated. There's 2 million young people that have at least one parent in prison right now. And the Episcopal Church has endorsed the idea of having a camp for children of the incarcerated, and there's 30 dioceses doing that. That's what we're doing for the prisons. Okay. What was the third one?
The third one was veterans.
Right.
In spite of all that's being said in Washington about how they're being taken care of, we
They're
know
not being taken care of.
factually that they are not being taken care of.
I know.
So then, particularly in the area of suicide.
Yeah.
So how are we involved in that process, and what is it that we're
Okay. It's
doing?
called Vet to Vet. Vet, VET, to Vet. Okay. And that's handled through the Military Chaplains Association, which we are part of. And the individuals, if you go to the webpage again, you'll find individuals doing that. So we have 119 veteran-friendly congregations in the United States. We need to have one in every diocese. It's not a big process. There's a place on the webpage. If you go there, talk to Everett Price, you can get yourself recognized as a veteran-friendly congregation. And then they'll give you the tools, the manuals, and all those things, how to work with that. But we are advisors and we're part of a network. We're not counselors,
Right, I understand.
we're advisors. But we have actual boots on the ground. The best thing that you can do to help us right now is tell us the story about why you're a Christian and why you believe in Jesus Christ and what the Brotherhood of St. Andrew has done for you in your life. I'd like to have 52 of those, and I'd like to run one every week on our Facebook page, anonymously. We're not going to ask you to give us your name, but we will tell your story in our Facebook page. That's what these kids want to know. They want to know who we are, how we got here, and why. And they need you to be authentic, and they need to believe that you're sincere in what you're doing. I am still amazed that I was elected president. I humbly thank you for that honor, and it has changed my life in more ways than one. I could write a whole series of books on the things that I ran into. But the one thing I know for a fact, and I've seen it firsthand over and over in every place I've gone, we change people's lives. And that's the humbling experience of being in my situation right now. I see it every time I go out in the field. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you for having us.
I have a question for you. Have you ever read a book? I think it was called, I've forgotten the guy who wrote it, but it was a priest. And the title of the book is Why Men Don't Go to Church.
Yes. David Morrow. He's a personal friend of mine.
Okay. And
Oh, I forgot. It's a good thing you mentioned that. Thank you. You're right there in the audience.
Way to go, Henry.
We've done something that we've never done before.
okay.
We published a book. There's 45 authors in this How to Disciple Men book. 2 of the authors are Brotherhood of St. Andrew members, and we're selling these for $15. And they've already gone into the second printing. So, and part of this, and it says right here, forwarded by Patrick Morley, Jay Pinkletter, and David Morrow were the editors. Okay?
Question based on reading that book is that what is the Brotherhood doing to encourage men? I know we at the local level, we have to do our best to encourage men to come to church. But that's not, for me, that's not the most essential part. Coming to church is not what is important to me. It's participating in the activities of the church.
That's a great question.
And that's what we as men, we're not doing.
That's right.
I mean,
If you will go,
we don't want the door that is broken. You see, we look at ministry as coming to church, and when the church is over, we're the first one outside the door. We give out scholarship. Every time we give out scholarship, the scholarship, they go to more women than they go to the boys. What are we doing to make sure that when we give out this scholarship, they go not to the boys, so this way we can see, particularly in the minority community.
on our webpage, you will see a section on mentoring. It's a textbook that you could follow on mentoring young men. It's a 3-year program. It tripled or quadrupled the size of the church there in Houston, and it's right there, and we can get you copies of it. We are going out in these regional meetings. Everything we're doing right now is new. We have a cultural problem of what people perceive that we are. It's not the same brotherhood that we were 5 years ago. Bob, is it?
It's not.
It's not the same brotherhood we were 5 years ago. But the mentoring is right there. And we have somebody in charge of it, and that's what we're doing, but you have to, it's like eating an elephant, small bites at a time. You have a great question. We are doing these things. If you'll go to the web page, you'll find it. If you got a problem, when you go to the drop down on discipleship and mentoring, you'll find Tom Martin's name. Send him an email. Okay. We are doing all those things. Okay. But it's on the web page. God's sakes, go to brothersandrew.net. That's our webpage, brothersandrew.net. Any other questions? I answered everybody's questions, and I talked too long, and I'm
No.
sorry.
Not at all.
Okay.
Have a second.
Thank you for being here.
Next.